Hello, everyone. Come on in, grab your favorite coffee, and let's settle in. Welcome to Empower Fantastic Life. Find your power, live without limits. I'm absolutely thrilled to be your guide today as we do a deep dive explainer on something we literally all navigate every single day. We're unpacking the brilliant, game-changing concepts from Nicole Stinton's book, Working in a Virtual World. It's a look at our daily digital lives that's going to completely shift how you view your everyday interactions. Stinton drops his core insight early on that just hits the nail right on the head. We kind of operate under this illusion, right? We think, oh, I have instant messaging and video calls, so obviously I have instant understanding. But here's the reality check. Breaking down those physical boundaries actually amplified our human collaboration challenges. Sure, technology made the globe smaller, but the interpersonal friction, the little misunderstandings, the missed cues, the delayed responses, those have all been totally magnified. So to respect your time today, we've got a really structured, clear roadmap for our session. First, we'll unpack the virtual communication paradox. Then, we'll see why clarity equals true sincerity. After that, we zoom out to look at servant leadership online. And finally, we'll wrap up with the absolute must-do practice of setting healthy digital boundaries. All right, let's jump right in. Starting off with Section 1, the virtual communication paradox, and how we navigate the profound loss of human nuance. Think about what actually happens when we strip away the physical room. In face-to-face interactions, we rely on a massive amount of unspoken data. A slight nod, a warm smile, the way someone's eyes soften, these little micro-expressions naturally lower the friction of talking to each other. But in the virtual world, poof, those physical cues vanish. We're left dealing with really high ambiguity. Have you ever received a short email from a coworker that just said, fine, and you spent the next hour stressing out wondering if they were mad at you? We've all been there. That anxiety, that's what we call a friction cost. The absence of physical context drastically increases this hidden energy tax on our daily interactions. So how do we fix this on a personal level? Well, that brings us to Section 2, clarity equals true sincerity. Let's look at how respecting time through precision changes everything. Because we can't just rely on a reassuring smile or a friendly tone of voice to carry our meaning across the internet. We have to overcompensate before we ever hit that send button. Step 1 is simply taking a beat for deep inner reflection and logical processing. We've literally got to hit pause. Then Step 2 is translating that thought into a structured, rigorously clear message. Instead of just firing off our immediate stream of consciousness, we kind of have to act as our own editors first. Let me give you a really simple, everyday analogy. Imagine you text a family member, hey, please buy some fruit. Well, now they're standing in the middle of the grocery store, wandering the aisles, wasting time, totally stressed out wondering if you want apples, oranges, or if somebody's allergic to kiwi. That vague request just created extra work for them. But a clear request, say, please buy 3 ripe bananas, eliminates that wandering entirely. The exact same thing happens at work. Saying, please handle the report causes wandering. Saying, please update the Q3 numbers by 5 p.m. Tuesday is precise. Structural clarity literally eliminates wasted time. So the huge takeaway here is this. In the digital realm, we really need to redefine what it means to be sincere. True sincerity isn't just about using polite words like please and thank you. It's actually a refined message that actively prevents misunderstanding. Good virtual communication is a profound sign of respect for your colleagues' time, energy, and mental bandwidth. When you're crystal clear, you are showing them that you truly value them. Let's scale this up from our own personal habits to a more macro mindset in Section 3, servant leadership online. How do we lead when we literally cannot see our team? Traditional top-down oversight completely falls apart in a distributed workforce. You can't just casually stroll past someone's desk to see if they're typing. This is exactly where servant leadership comes into play. If we strip away all the fancy corporate jargon, servant leadership is simply about creating a safe, stable environment. It focuses entirely on empowering team growth rather than trying to force this short-term, surface-level efficiency. Building online trust? That's a slow, steady, long-term investment. I absolutely love this analogy because it makes the theory so vivid. A traditional boss acts kind of like a factory manager, right? Watching a mechanical assembly line to ensure immediate output. But humans working remotely aren't machines on a conveyor belt. A servant leader is much more like a gardener. You can't force a plant to grow faster by shouting at it, and you certainly can't force it to grow by relentlessly watching it on a computer screen. You provide the right soil, which is resources, you provide water, which is support, and then you step back and trust the process.
So, practically speaking, if you're an online servant leader, your focus shifts to these core areas. You're actively building cross-distance trust. You're intentionally embracing diverse perspectives, especially when dealing with different cultures and time zones. You're listening extra closely to resolve hidden conflicts that don't easily pop up on a quick Zoom call. Ultimately, your job is to empower rather than oversee. Cultivating the long-term health of your team is infinitely more valuable than micromanaging whether their little status dot is green on a chat app.
All right, moving into our final stretch, Section 4, Setting Healthy Digital Boundaries. This is all about self-preservation and protecting your personal energy in a world that has zero natural stopping points. In a boundaryless digital workplace, the toll on our mental health can be absolutely massive. Stinton provides some very concrete strategies to tackle this. First, we absolutely must establish clear, non-negotiable offline hours. We also need to proactively manage cross-time zone expectations. I mean, just because it's 2 p.m. for them does not mean you need to reply at 11 p.m. your time. We have to violently protect quiet space, especially for the deep thinkers out there who need uninterrupted time to actually innovate. Technology is just a tool. It's a bridge for connection, not an unbreakable chain causing constant always-on anxiety. You have got to disconnect to recharge. Think of it like this. Imagine walking through a fierce, freezing blizzard in a massive, heavy, snow-covered winter coat. When you finally get home to your nice, warm living room, you wouldn't just keep wearing that soaking wet coat, right? No way. You take it off right at the door. We have to learn to do the exact same thing with our work. We need to leave the heavy winter coat of always-on technology, all those buzzing notifications and late-night emails at the door of our personal lives. Strip off that heavy burden before you enter your rest space. To bring this all together, mastering the virtual world really comes down to these 3 pillars. Clear communication, where your precision actually shows your sincerity. Empathetic leadership, where you're gardening rather than manufacturing. And protected energy, where you set firm boundaries to preserve your peace. When you master these 3 areas, the virtual world completely transforms. It goes from being an exhausting drain into a highly dynamic, empowering tool for your growth. So I want to leave you with a thought to carry into the rest of your week. Take a hard look at your own digital habits, the way you message, the way you disconnect, and ask yourself, which digital boundary will you draw today to protect your peace? You've been listening to Empower Fantastic Life, Jaeger Empowerment Academy. See you next time. Bye-bye.